Welcome to the show! Introducing the comedic musical talent of Jessica Delfino and Bill Etra, one of the original creators of video art and the video synthesizer. Then we have the interpretive dance of Antonia Katrandjieva. But first, we present the erotic art of Edward Weiss. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the show!
Hi, my name's Edward Weiss, and this is my studio. And these are my paintings. These paintings are sort of have two disparate influences. One is just the what's now called like modern art, which is 19th century art, that started to break up representational art into different shapes on the canvas, or in this case paper. And the other one is pin-up art from the 40s, 50s, 30s. And I sort of a strange marriage of the two. The history of art is sort of filled with, people like Van Gogh, who didn't sell a painting during their lifetime. And it's also filled with people that sold a lot of paintings who were really, really terrible artists. I guess I've never been really good at coming up with a marketing strategy. I just kind of do what I want to do, and then I try to sell it. With this particular work, a lot of people criticized it for being, some people said it was pornographic or like a comic book. And I was kind of interested in that, so I sent a bunch of postcards to comic book publishers. And oddly enough, somebody picked up one of the paintings for a cover on a kind of smutty comic book. And that was kind of fun, but I didn't really kind of use that as a jumping off point for a comic book career. The series of paintings is called Modern Venus, and I actually, believe it or not, do feel like I'm carrying on a tradition in art that dates back to the Venus of Willendorf. There's a long tradition of iconic depictions of the body in Western art, and actually most art throughout the world. And I feel like I'm carrying that on, and I sort of wedded it to the modernist compositional stuff that I like from 19th century art, and the pin-up kind of sensibility that I enjoyed from popular art of the 20th century in America. I don't exaggerate any body proportion, or I don't try to perfect anything. I don't streamline or exaggerate. And I do change colors around, and I do change I insert things for compositional effects. I was trying to point out the kind of the mystique that there is in the commonplace, and just the power of the shapes that are in people's bodies. And I didn't want to try to improve upon that. I'm always kind of shocked by some of the reactions I get to the work, because it's actually, there's almost no nudity, and there isn't any sexual content, and yet people, for some reason, not everybody, but there have been a lot of kind of strong reactions that I really don't get. Thanks for looking, and if you want to look a little bit more, I have a website. It's called weissworks.com, and you can contact me there too if you have any questions.
Hi, I'm Tony, actually Antonia, and I'm a theater director and a choreographer and a yoga instructor. I work in the field of theater dance, mainly esoteric theater, and I write my own scripts, and I try to produce new, challenging, and provocative works. I'm a graduate of the National Academy of Theater Arts in Bulgaria, Sofia. Since 2002, I'm in New York, teaching yoga and also producing my own pieces together with my husband. We are part of the Overground Arts Alliance. So my personal development as an artist actually started when I went to the first pantomime show in my life. It was 1987 in Bulgaria, Sofia, and I was really overwhelmed by what I saw, and I thought that I would love to express myself this way. For me, what matters most is for the artist to express his authentic voice, no matter if he's understood and no matter if he is in tune with the ongoing fashion or if he's in vogue. And whether he's successful or not cannot depend only on the box office receipts or on the great reviews about his work. It's about this inner contentment within the person after he has done some work, he or she. And it's about that inner quality of the spirit. Have you satisfied your spiritual needs? If you have, then you have met the goals. New York is a perfect place for different inspirations, everyday inspirations. And I'm sure there are many artists who work here, and everybody has his own way of sharing his knowledge and his experience with his fellow men. But for example, I brought this today, I don't know why, but this is this web we were talking about. We're all here, and this is the artery, and to make the blood flow within the artery, we need the fuel, and the fuel is creativity. So I'm part of Overground's Art Alliance right now, and actually, if you want to learn more about the creative ideas of the Alliance and also its spiritual pursuits, you can visit our website, www.overground888.com. So if you're interested in what we're doing, you can visit that website.
Hi, I'm Bill Etra, and this is the Etra video synthesizer. The synthesizer controls the height of an image through 0, the width of an image through 0, the height and width of an image together to 0, which gives us a zoom, the intensity of an image to 0, the horizontal screen position of an image off the screen in both directions, and the vertical position of an image off the screen in both directions. And one other parameter, which we call horizontal centering. As I put an effect into the image, you can see that horizontal centering allows us to move the image through the effect. When we use these controls in combination, we are able to animate the image as we did in the Polyfusion show.
Hello, and this is me 35 years later, still working on the same machine. Not the analog machine necessarily, though I've done shows with it within the last 2 years. But on the digital, I've spent the last 35 years getting the stuff to be digital, and it's just now at the point where the digital is getting fast enough and high enough resolution to be real time and do what the Etra did. What it's missing is the hand controls. And what it'll probably wind up being is MIDI hand and USB and gaming hand controls put together to control stuff like what I'm doing over here on my laptop. Because when that's together, we'll finally have what I call the visual piano, and that's what I've been working on. I didn't know it when I started. When I started, I thought I was giving myself a machine, a video synthesizer to play with, and it would take a year. I didn't even think it'd take a year, a few months, and we'd have one. And I worked with my friend Steve Rudd, who was an electronics engineer. And in 1970, we finished it. 69, 70, we finished the first couple of units. And I find myself in 2005 working on what I thought I was going to have in a year in 1969. I mean, that's it. Art with real-time feedback is what I'm pressing for. So anything that can be done that way is important. Abstractions of the bed sheet was done when Stan Vanderbeek invited me to teach his class in Orlando, Florida, and that was even before Disneyland, so I don't know what, I think it was 72, and they had an electronic music lab, and the guy who wrote the electronic music lab had a lot to do, but his name's been lost in the past, which is my fault. Had a lot to do with the sound, because we adapted his sound program to run the video synthesizer. I like being an amateur. I like doing new things and trying new things, and that means making mistakes and learning. I'm on a constant learning curve for the last 35 years.
The small box you see taped to Louise is a biomedical telemetry transmitter and is monitoring her heartbeat and sending the signal to the video equipment. The red heart shape is being generated electronically by the video synthesizer and is modulated by Louise's heartbeats. The purpose of the piece is to explore the control of video images by the use of physiological signals. The outcome of the experiment speaks for itself.
For those who wish to lose their sanity a little more, you can, I wouldn't go to my website because I haven't done anything with it in 20 years, but you can write me at bill@etra.com or just Google Bill Etra video and you'll find out plenty. Thanks a lot.
Delfino, and I live and perform in New York City, and I've been here for about 3 years, and I do dirty folk rock around the city, which is basically like mostly somewhat vulgar little songs, beautiful folky melodies with really dark, depraved lyrics. When I'm feeling down, I cut myself. Oh, when I'm feeling sad, I cut myself. I get a razor blade and I cut myself with initials that belong to you. Initials that belong to you. Oh, when I'm feeling sad, I slice my flesh. Oh, when I'm feeling bad, I slice my flesh. I get a safety pin and I slice my flesh with initials that belong to you. And words that remind me of you. I'm very into freedom of speech and being able to say and do whatever I want to, and I live in a country where I can, so I figure I should exercise that right, and I encourage other people to do the same thing. So I actually went to school for animation in Philadelphia, and when I was down there, I met this stand-up comic in a park. He bummed a cigarette off me, and I gave him one, and then we ended up going back to his apartment to have lunch. He showed me all these videotapes of himself doing stand-up, And I was like, this is awesome. I want to do this. You know, I was in school for animation at the time. He was like, well, you can't do stand-up because you're not funny. And I was like, well, you know, now I have to do it just because he said I couldn't. I moved to New York and I started doing stand-up and performing at like some clubs and stuff. And I met my fiance, who is not my fiance anymore, and we were both kind of doing stand-up around the circuit together. He was much better at it than I was. He would make me so angry so often. What I did was I would pick up my guitar and I would just like start playing these songs to him with my guitar about like how much I hated him and how he should clean the apartment more and how he should buy groceries. But it was like fun and funny because I was doing it with a guitar. And then he was like, you should try that on stage because I think it works. I get really inspired by things that other people are afraid of. Like I get inspired by, you know, like death and suicide and abortion and, you know, people getting beaten up and, you know, even just like little things like people, you know, hating themselves or, you know, people taking antidepressants. Yeah, I get inspired by things that that would normally scare other people, I guess. I think that if I inspire people to make art, even if that art's shitty art, then I'm inspiring them positively.
Oh, it's called The Song You Wrote About Me, and it goes like this. You wrote me a song about how much you love me, then you dumped me for a girl you met at work. The pain in my heart is more than I can handle, and I don't think that I can go on this way. So I'm going to commit suicide to the song you wrote about me. And I hope you write another song about how I committed suicide to the song that you wrote about me. It should go something like this. Committed suicide to the song I wrote about her. Now I'm writing a song about that. I'm really gonna miss that girl. And I hope it sells and you make a lot of money and you share it with your new girlfriend. Please don't let her wear my sweater I left at your house when you were still mine. You wrote me a song about how much you loved me. It wasn't very good, but I was flattered anyway.
The song was inspired by my imagination because I don't think anyone's ever written a song about me, but I'm dating this guy who likes to write songs like about people a lot, and he's written songs about lots of other girls, so I just kind of like based it on that. I think a normal person is someone who is at least in acceptance with who they are and the people around them, and I'm not by a long shot. And most of the people who I feel comfortable with and around aren't either, which gives me great joy. It makes me very happy to know that there are other people who are unsettled and are aware with the fact that they'll probably be unsettled until the day they die. You know, whereas other people go through life and they think that they're great and they think everything's fine and they're oblivious to the fact that, you know, they're mean to people or they're disrespectful to people or, you know, they beat up their kids and they don't understand why their kids run away. And those people probably think they're really normal. Whereas like I'm actually probably pretty close to normal, but I feel like I'm not.
She came along and I guess she was better, and I can't bear it, so I'm going away. So I'm going to commit suicide to the song you wrote about me. And I hope you write another song about how I committed suicide to the song you wrote about me. I'm going to commit suicide to the song you wrote about me. I hope you write another song about how I committed suicide to the song you wrote about me. To the song you wrote about me. The song you wrote about me. Thank you.
Thanks to all the artists and all the people that made this show possible. Special thanks to New York City for providing a breeding ground of creativity.
It's art, or something like it's art, or something like it.
This is Art or Something Like It, presenting a gallery of amazing artists each and every week, and more integrity than he can shake a stick at. For more information about the show, or any of the artists on the show, please visit artorsomethinglikeit.com. Next time you experience something new and you don't know what to make of it, you should ask yourself, is it art or something like it? Thank you. Good night.
smarter, and I'm smarter, something like it. And I'm smarter, and I'm smarter, something like it. And I'm smarter, and I'm smarter, something like it. And I'm smarter, and I'm smarter, something like it.